Most people think firefighting is about water and flame, but the truth is it's about time. Seconds stretch or collapse depending on whether you're outside the fire or inside it. I'm Dave, 42 years old, a fire apparatus engineer with Cal Fire here in Reading. Been on the line nearly 2 decades, long enough to know what can be saved and what burns faster than you ever imagined. My daughter, Ellie, says I smell like smoke all the time. She's not wrong. It's in my gear bag, in the seat cushions of my pickup, even in the couch at my duplex on the south side of town. She spends summers with me, school year with her mom in Sacramento. The one thing I try to promise is to be there when she calls. Even if I'm running a hose at 3 a.m., I'll text back, "Love you," as soon as the line's secure. The season always starts the same. Briefing, checking rigs, walking through dry fuel maps. This year the maps looked angrier. Sierra snowpack was thin, and by May we were already running vegetation fires that usually wait until July. I told the rookies, don't trust the calendar. Trust the grass. If it crunches, it's ready. They nodded, eyes wide, uniforms still clean. July heat hit triple digits and never let go. On the last Monday of the month, the dispatcher's tone sharpened in my radio. Vegetation fire west of I-5. Multiple structures threatened. My hands tightened on the wheel before I even realized. That corridor carries ghosts, 2018 Carterra fire, the fire tornado, friends I lost. The city still carries that scar. We rolled code 3. Sirens bounced off the highway barriers as the sky above Reading thickened to that sick orange-gray. My captain was calling in water tenders and bulldozers while I maneuvered the rig past cars that didn't know which way to move. By the time we hit the subdivision, the flames were in the treetops, leaping like they'd been waiting for this. Residents were still there, hosing roofs with garden sprayers, running sprinklers. It makes them feel like they're helping, but it's hopeless once the ember storm starts. I wanted to yell, "Get out!" But my job was the rig, the line, and the men on my crew. I jumped out, grabbed the 1 3/4 line, and felt the heat slap me hard, like opening an oven on full blast. Somewhere behind me a dog barked and barked. The chain clinked metal against metal. I forced myself to turn back to the flames. My job wasn't pets. My job was houses and people. Still, the sound burrowed into me. By dusk, the fire was chewing into yards. We foamed roofs, sprayed down siding, tried to keep sparks from lighting wood piles. My boots sank into asphalt, softening under the heat. And then came the scream. A woman's voice, sharp and desperate, cutting through the roar. She stood at the cul-de-sac's end, toddler clutched against her chest, face streaked with soot. "My dad's inside," she shouted, pointing to a 1-story house already swallowing smoke. Training says, life safety first, but don't rush blind. My captain met my eyes. He gave me the tightest nod I've ever seen. I pulled my hood, dropped low, and went in with the flashlight beam bouncing against the walls. Heat pressed down like a weight. I found him by the kitchen. An older man, unconscious, body heavy in ways you don't expect. My gloves slipped against his damp shirt as I hauled him up, step by step. Every breath felt stolen. When we staggered back out, the blast of relatively cool, outside air hit me like mercy. Paramedics took him. The daughter cried into her kid's hair. My knees shook so badly I had to plant the nozzle into the dirt to keep from falling. I remember thinking, I risked my crew, risked myself. Would I do it again? My chest still burns with the answer. We fought until dawn. 6 houses gone. 8 saved. People clap for the 8, but the 6 hang heavier. At briefing, the battalion chief called us solid. Later, my captain pulled me aside. "Good work," he said. Then, "But don't get sloppy. We can't afford heroes who don't come home." I nodded. I've heard versions of that since rookie days, but it sounded different this time. Back at the station, exhaustion dropped over me like wet gear. When I finally slept, the dog's chain rattled in my dreams. The fire was out, but the weight stayed. Back home, my duplex walls creaked in the night, and every noise sounded like fire eating wood. Ellie came to stay for a week in August. Over breakfast, she caught me staring at nothing. "Dad, you're somewhere else," she said. 14 years old, sharper than I want to admit. I couldn't tell her that her dad wakes up with phantom heat, or that every time she hugs me I wonder if she'll have to bury me younger than she should. Instead, I smiled and changed the subject to her basketball camp. She didn't push. She just looked at me with those eyes that see too much. I started running more. River trail at dawn, lungs burning on purpose, trying to sweat the ghosts out. Didn't work. Signed up for a peer support session Cal Fire was piloting. Half the guys crossed their arms, pretending they didn't need it. When it came to me, words tumbled out. I can still smell the kitchen where I found him. I can still hear his daughter screaming. Silence, then another guy nodded. Yeah, I hear mine too. That broke the dam. On days off, I began volunteering with the Fire Safe Council, chainsaws, clearing brush, showing families how to pack go bags. Not hero work, just prevention. The kind of quiet victories nobody claps for. When a grandmother in Shasta Lake thanked me for trimming her overgrown lot, I realized this mattered too. But therapy changed me more than I expected. A counselor asked, "What would let you sleep easier next time?" I said, "Better screens over drains. Clearing fuel. More training for rookies." She said, "Do that. Don't just stew. Act." So I did. I wrote memos. I trained rookies on reading wind shifts. I called animal control about evacuation procedures for pets. I couldn't fix the world, but I could tighten bolts where I stood. By September the rains came, dragging mudslides over burned scars. Fires slowed. Calls shifted to rescues on washed-out roads. But the weight didn't leave. Then came Ellie's school project, write about your personal hero. I figured she'd pick a basketball player. Instead, she slid me the paper. She wrote about me. About my dirty boots, my tired eyes, the birthdays I've missed, and about how my dad goes where the fire is and he comes home anyway. I couldn't breathe reading it. That night, after she fell asleep, I wrote my own list, taped inside my locker. My fire line: risk life only when life is at stake. Property doesn't bury firefighters. Train like fire cheats because it always does. Speak the things you can't sleep with. Silence feeds ghosts. Love your kid louder than the fire roars. Saving one house doesn't erase losing another, but both matter. Pets count. If you hear barking, find a way. Run toward the hard things but walk out alive. Tomorrow, another plume will rise over the ridges. Another family will wait on their lawn, clutching what they can carry. I'll answer the tones, drive into the heat, and pray my rules hold. Sometimes the fire wins. But sometimes, because we showed up, somebody wakes up in their own bed the next morning. That's enough to keep me on the line.